Hi, welcome back to the Monarch Plastic Surgery YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Paul Leahy, one of the surgeons here at Monarch. I have something new with me today I wanted to share with you. It's not brand new to plastic surgery in general. It's a new type of breast implant that's been out since about 2016 with FDA approval, made by a plastic surgeon actually. And I have with me our standard silicone gel implant and a traditional saline or saltwater filled implant. And I wanted to show you the differences in some of the potential advantages that this new device can offer patients. Basically what it was designed to do was give us all of the advantages of a saline filled implant in that it can be put in through a little bit smaller incision than the silicone implants. If there's a problem with the implant and you have a tear in the shell or the capsule, the saline just simply leaks out, your body absorbs it, and you know right away that you have a deflation. You call your plastic surgeon and it's a fairly straightforward procedure to switch it out. Compare that to the silicone implant. If it has a tear or a rupture in the shell, why then the gel can leak out of it, but your body won't absorb silicone. It just sort of stays there, and most women don't like that idea of that going on in their body, despite the fact that after many, many years of study, the FDA has deemed that even that experience or that phenomenon to be a safe occurrence and not cause a medical problem. And we still thoroughly believe that. However, again, if you're a woman with an implant in your body, you would want to know if you had a leak of that so that it could be switched out as well. The other advantage to the saline filled implants over the silicone are that because the surgeon fills it during the surgery, we can adjust how much volume we put into the implant during the surgery, which gives you the flexibility to change sizes just a little bit here and there. You can make the left side or the right side a little bit bigger or smaller depending upon the case. Compare that to the silicone implants. These come to us completely sealed in the box, and so it sort of is what it is when you put it in there. Talking about potentials for the shell to rupture, the 7-year data on this implant, they found that about 1.8% of the implants put in today, if you track them out 7 years, about 1.8% of those would have a rupture or a deflation. If you compare that to this silicone implant I have in my hand here, that is probably closer to 7.4% at the 7-year mark, so a lot less chance of the implant rupturing. And that probably has to do with a number of factors, but primarily because this implant is actually made of more than one shell. And in between those different shells, there are what the company calls baffles, or small little valves, and that allows for the saline to go back and forth between the two shells at different rates and makes it behave a little bit more like a silicone gel implant. And so the classic example in trying to demonstrate the two, I'll show you the traditional saline implant versus the silicone implant. When you drop them from a height onto a table, you notice this kind of bounces around quite a bit more like a water balloon would. And if you compare that to the Ideal implant, it behaves a lot more like the gel. And so when you put those together, you get something like this. So really it just has to be something that you feel, and so we would love to have you come in for a consultation so you can try out all three of these. There's a variety of different silicone implants that are out also, which require a whole separate video probably for discussion, so that patients have an informed decision and can choose what's going to be best for them. One nice thing is that if you were to develop a rupture or a tear in the shell of this Ideal implant, similar to the silicone implants, the company who makes these would not only give you money towards your surgery for the first 10 years, but it also has a lifetime warranty. So if you ever in your lifetime were to have a rupture, the company would give you a new implant. And that actually goes pretty much the same for most of the implant companies out there for these silicone implants as well. Any type of breast implant that is put into the body, or actually any foreign implant of any kind that's put into the body surgically, our body will have a tendency to want to wall that off and make a real thin scar around it to keep it away from the rest of the body. On some occasions, for reasons that are not exactly understood, although we have some theories, sometimes the body will make a thicker version of that capsule. And so, and if that happens, it can have a tendency to kind of deform the implant or sort of push on the implant in one part wherever that scar is tight. And that is called capsular contracture. So if you look at comparing the Ideal implant versus the traditional, the new silicone implants that are out, the rate of that capsular contracture occurring for an implant similar to the silicone implant here is around 16%, whereas for the Ideal implant, it's going to be closer to about 6%. And again, that's studied after about the 7-year mark. For our patients that do have silicone-filled implants in their body, the FDA has recommended that they get an MRI scan of the breasts at the 3rd year mark after surgery, but also every 2 years after that, which is why we like to see our patients back every year to keep them on track and make sure everything is in good order. The MRI, unfortunately, is not going to be covered by your insurance company, and those get expensive, and they're also somewhat uncomfortable. They can be a little claustrophobic. And the MRI is really the only way you would know if this silicone implant had ruptured, again, because your body won't absorb that. That's not necessary with a saline-filled implant or the new Ideal implant, because if it leaks, it generally is just going to get completely flat, and you know it, and we don't worry about that saline or that salt water just being absorbed by your body. So that gets rid of the need for those MRI scans. So just to wrap things up, I'm really excited about this new technology in saline-filled implants called the Ideal implant. Really, it's something you just have to hold in your hand and feel and get a sense for how it's different or similar, and we'll help you make an informed decision on what might be the best choice for you. And we'd love to see you to come in for a consultation. Thanks a lot for listening.